Welcome everyone to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. I am your host today, Dhruv Kumar Das. Before we begin the class, let's do a simple Mangala Charana. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaim Narotamam Deving Saraswating Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayit. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the only means of conquest, let us offer our respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord, Lord Narayana, onto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, onto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and onto Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nasta Presha Avdareshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavadi Naistikihi. By regularly attending Srimad Bhagavatam class and by rendering service to pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely vanquished, and loving devotional service onto the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song and choice poetry, is established in one's heart as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Jnana Salakaya Chakshuran Milatanyana Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master illuminated my heart with the torch of transcendental knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Nama Om Vishwamudaya Krishna Parastaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Iti Namni Nama Acharya Pidani Tai Kripa Pidani Gora Katadam Daini Rigram Tani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vranda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Welcome everybody again to Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are doing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 3. This is the continuation of the conversation between Maharaj Nimi and the Nava Yogendras. This Maharaj Nimi is seeing how these exalted 9 brothers, Nava Yogendras, these are all the sons of Lord Rishabhadev. Lord Rishabhadev is not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's another incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Maharaj Nimi is seeing how these exalted brothers, all 9 of them, they have come in his presence. He took the time and advantage to ask them questions. This is what you should do when you meet a Vaishnava. So the first question that Maharaj Nimi asked the 9 brothers, Nava Yogendras, is that what is the greatest good can one do in one life? What's the greatest good can one do in one life? So the answer came from one of the brothers. His name is Kavir, Kavir. So he gave an answer. He says the greatest good one can do in one's life, especially if you have a human form of life, is to render loving devotional service onto the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. That is called Bhakti Yoga. So this Bhakti Yoga is the exclusive advantage of especially the human form of life. Human form of life is very rare, and if one does not take full advantage of this human form of life by practicing this Bhakti Yoga, or even attempting to, or even approaching Bhakti Yoga, one's human life is considered a waste of time. And the greatest secret of advancement in Bhakti Yoga, or loving devotional service onto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, is to surrender to the lotus feet of his pure devotees of Lord Sri Krishna. So this brings to the second question. How do we identify a pure devotee of Krishna? How many kinds of devotee are there? Okay. So this question was answered by another brother of this Nava Yogendras. His name is Havir, Havir. Havir. So Havir, he explained that there are basically 3 levels of devotees. There is the Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. Kanishta Adhikari are those who are new to Krishna consciousness, not very mature. The midway devotees are those who are a bit more serious. They take to the study of the scriptures, especially Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and to understand, and not only to understand but actually to apply in their lives. these principles of freedom, principles of liberation, mukti. And these Madhyamadikari devotees, what they do is they hold on very tightly to the lotus feet of a pure devotee, a Uttama Adhikari. And the characteristics of a Uttama Adhikari are those who are totally surrendered to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. They are Brahmanishtam. It is a term used to describe those who are pure devotees. Brahmanishtam means they are fixed in Brahman. So these pure devotees, they are totally not interested in anything that is temporary in nature. They do not aspire to accumulate or to collect or to indulge in activities that are temporary in nature. They are only interested in rendering loving devotional service onto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. So this is the characteristic of a Uttama Adhikari, a pure devotee. And another characteristics, very special characteristics of a Uttama Adhikari is that everything he sees around him reminds him of Krishna. Even this material world is known as the Bahiranga Sakti. Bahiranga Sakti is the external energy of the Supreme Lord. Okay, this material world is an external energy of the Supreme Lord. So these Uttama Adhikaris, everything in this material world, that which is nice, not nice, which is permanent, that is temporary, everything reminds him of Krishna. So he's constantly meditating on the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, constantly. So this brings to the third question. The third question asked by Maharaj Nimi is, what is this material world? What is this external energy of the Supreme Lord, and what is Maya? Very important question. Important question. Why? Because to advance in spiritual life is very easy, actually. Very straightforward. But the problem here is, all of us, we are struggling with our identity and we are confused about who we are with regards to ourselves and this material world. So the obstacle to our progress in spiritual life is our attachment to that which is temporary, which is this material world. So why are we attached? Why is there such an attachment? So this is the topic of Maya, illusion. So the third question is by Maharaj Nimi to the Nava Yogendras is, what is this Maya? So the answer given by another brother of this Nava Yogendra, his name is Sri Antariksha. Sri Antariksha, he is begin to explain that this material world, this external energy of this material world was created by the Supreme Lord for only two purposes. One purpose is for the living entity to come and fulfill their desires to enjoy sense gratification. That is the first reason. And the second reason is that it gives that very same living entity who wants to enjoy sense gratification an opportunity to get liberated from the cycle of birth and death in this material world. So two reasons. One is to enjoy sense gratification, and another one is to get liberation from this enjoyment of this sense gratification. So it is explained in Canto 10 that this material nature, this external energy consisting of the three modes of material nature is Krishna's energy, but by its nature, this energy will convince the living entity after many births that his real self-interest, his real happiness, his real fulfillment of all his desires is actually at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Okay? So that is the explanation of Sri Antariksha about this external energy of the Supreme Lord. So before we go to the fourth question, there is a very nice pastime, a very nice story to connect the question that Maharaj Nimi asked with regards to what is Maya, and it will connect to the question that comes after that. So this story is a very interesting story. The story is about once Narada Muni went to visit Lord Narayana in Vaikuntha. So when Narada Muni approached Lord Narayana, Narada Muni began to praise Lord Narayana by saying that, my dear Lord, I have traveled all over your what do you call this, yeah, your manifestation, the material world plus the spiritual world, and I have seen things that are so wonderful, so amazing, and the greatest of all this journey I took was to meet your devotees, your unflinching devotees. So amazing. But my dear Lord, there is one thing that really puzzles me. Until now, I cannot really understand. So Lord Narayana smiled at his pure devotee, this Narada Muni, and he says, my dear Narada, please ask. Please don't feel shy to ask. I'm ever willing to please you. So please ask. So Narada said, my dear Lord, I've seen so many amazing things, but there's one side of you that is your illusory energy, this Maya Sakti. I don't understand. What is this Maya Sakti? So Lord Narayana, hearing this question, he gave a big smile. Then he said, yes, my dear Narada, I will answer your question. But before that, can you do me one favor? So Narada said, yes, anything, my Lord. I am here to serve you. See, can you just go and get me some water? So Narada said, yeah, sure, no problem. I go and get you some water. So Narada went to the river with a pot in his hand. So he was about to, take water for Lord Narayana. Suddenly at the same river, he saw one very young, beautiful girl. Very young, beautiful girl. So I think most of you know already that the drama started already, Any movie, any TV series you watch, the story starts when the damsel in distress appears in the scene, you see. So Narada saw one very beautiful girl here, and he saw she was alone by herself. There was nobody there with her. He said, this is not proper. This is not good, So he approached her. He says, my dear girl, who are you? Why are you here alone? So this girl, she turned and she looked at Narada and she immediately recognized, this is Narada Muni. She said, oh, my dear sage Narada, I have been so blessed. You are here now. I'm getting your darshan. So my name is so-and-so. I live in a nearby village. My father is the village Brahmana. Please come to my place and visit my father. My father will be very happy to see you. So Narada thought, yeah, okay, fine, no problem. So he followed this young girl to her house, and there Narada met her father. Father saw Lord, Narada Muni. He became so happy. He became so happy. So, oh, my dear sage, you have blessed me with your presence. My life now is complete. I've met the pure devotee of Lord Narayana. How much more fortunate can one be? So this Brahmana father was so enthusiastic and so happy that he pleased Narada like anything. He said, please come sit down. Tell me what you want. I will serve you. I'll give you whatever you want. So Narada was saying, yes, thank you, very nice. Thank you. I don't need anything. I just saw your daughter at the river. She was there alone. I thought, this is not nice. This is not good. Then this Brahmana began to tell his story. He said, my dear sage, I'm a father, Grihastha, so difficult. I worry about her all the time. She's a very independent girl. Only if she's married can she be, under care of a suitable husband. Then this Brahmana asked Narada, would you like my daughter as your wife? Please accept this as a gift. And Narada heard this. He said, yes, okay. So the drama starts. So when Narada said okay, they got married, and then shortly after that they had children, and the children, they were very wonderful children, and she was a wonderful wife, and Narada was a ideal husband, very, very ideal husband. And years passed. The children grew up. The children all grew up. He had many children, and these children were the joy of Narada's life. Many years passed by. The children grew up. They got married. They left home and all that. And then one fine day, Narada's wife asked Narada, my dear husband, I want to cook for you. Can you please go and get me some water? So Narada said, yeah, can, no problem. So he took the pot, he went to the river, he was about to dip the pot into the river. Suddenly he remembered, I originally came here to get water for Lord Narayana. So he quickly ran to the lotus feet of Lord Narayana, fell at his feet, and he said, my dear Lord, now I understand your Maya Sakti. I understand now perfectly. I understand perfectly. So this story is very, very nice. Why? Because this is the potency of this Maya Sakti of Lord Krishna. This illusory energy of the Lord is there, and this is what it does. It just sweeps you away. It makes you forget. Just like this Narada, one time he was with Lord Narayana, very fine, nothing, just normal day for him. Suddenly, this Maya Sakti came and just swept him, and decades went by. Decades went by. Until he remembered, oh my Lord, I came here to get water for Lord Narayana. So this brings us to the next question that Maharaj Nimi asked the Nava Yogendras. Now, what is that question? He said, oh great sage, please explain how even a foolish materialist can easily cross over the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord, which is always insurmountable for those who are not self-controlled. So this is the answer asked by Maharaj Nimi. Very interesting. He says he is asking, even a foolish materialist can easily, how does one cross over this materialistic energy of the Supreme Lord, specifically his Maya Sakti, his illusory energy? So this question was answered by the fourth brother of the Nava Yogendra, and his name is Prabuddha, Sri Prabuddha. Okay, let's see what he says. Accepting the role of male and female in human society, the conditioned soul unite in sexual relationship. Thus, they constantly make material endeavors to eliminate their unhappiness and unlimitedly increase their pleasure. But one should see that they inevitably achieve exactly the opposite result. In other words, their happiness inevitably vanishes, and as they grow older, their material discomfort increases. This is the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. In this material world, we are constantly seeking for happiness, but we are looking happiness at the wrong place. Now, we think that this material energy can give us happiness. And when we go for, we endeavor to achieve material wealth, gain, fame, name, through thinking that it will make us happy, the actual result is, it is the opposite. It only brings misery. Dukkhalayam asaswatam. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes this material world as being a place of misery only. It's a place of misery only. There's only birth, death, disease, and old age. This is permanent in this material world. Whether in between there is happiness or not sure, no guarantee. But this fog is guaranteed. Birth is no fun. Old age is no fun. Disease is no fun, and definitely death is no fun. It's miserable. And if there is anything good also that comes into your life, it is temporary at best. So that is not very satisfying. Okay, let's see what else he says. Wealth is a perpetual source of distress. It is most difficult to acquire, and it is virtual death for the soul. What satisfaction does one actually gain from his wealth? Similarly, how can one gain ultimate or permanent happiness from one's so-called home, children, relative, and domestic animals, which are all maintained by one's hard-earned money? This is true. I don't think there's any explanation needs to be given here. One cannot find permanent happiness even on the heavenly planets, which one can attain in his next life by ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifice. Even in material heaven, the living entity is disturbed by a rivalry with his equal and envy from those superior to him. And since once a residence in heaven is finished with the exhaustion of pious fruitive activities, the denizens of heavens are afflicted by fear, anticipating the destruction of their heavenly life. Thus, they resemble king who, through enviously admired by ordinary citizens, are constantly harassed by enemy kings who therefore never attain actual happiness. So here, Sri Prabuddha is explaining that even if ones get to the heavenly planets, the Swarga, where King Indra is, where Varuna is, where Agni is, even if you were to get that position, there is no happiness there also. Why? Because among the Devas also there is enviousness. There's enviousness, there's jealousy, there's fighting. And even in heavenly planets, because of superior knowledge, everybody knows they are there because of tremendous punya. And this punya is just like a bank account. Every time you withdraw money from the bank, eventually the money will run out. So similarly, the punya that make them eligible to live in Swarga also will run out. So they live in this fear that one day I have to fall back into this earth again, birth, death, disease, old age, again in this earth. And also, it is explained that sometimes the innocent citizens, sometimes they will admire those who are more well-to-do than themselves, like kings or rich men, like Bill Gates. Of course, now it's Jeff Bezos. We innocently think, oh, these people are very nice. They got lots of money, lots of name, a lot of power, a lot of influence. Oh, very nice, rumba nice. But we do not realize that these people themselves also are constantly living in fear. Why? Because they are also having enemies also. They also have people who are envious of them, who are jealous of them, who wish them harm. So the example here is given that even a king, thus they resemble kings who, though enviously admired by the ordinary citizen, are constantly harassed by enemy kings who therefore never attain actual happiness. They are being harassed by those who are envious of him. So Prabuddha continues, and he comes to this section, which is actually the verse we are doing today. This verse is a very famous verse, often quoted by Srila Prabhupada. And actually, this is the solution. Before that, he was talking only about the problem. What is this Maya Sakti? This is text 21, chapter 3, canto 11. The chapter is liberation from the illusory energy. This verse goes like this: Tasmat kurum prapatyate jignasu sreya uttamam sabde paricha nisnatam brahmani upasamasrayam. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: Therefore, any person who seriously desires a real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualifications of a bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusion of the scripture by deliberation and is able to convince others of this conclusion. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material consideration, should be understood to be a bona fide spiritual master. So this is the beginning of the solution of how you can get away, can run away from the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. So here it is said also in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 34. Tat viti pratipatena pariprashena sevai ubadakjanti te dhyanam janinas tattva darsina. Krishna says the same thing also. Krishna says that if you want to learn the truth, you must approach a bona fide spiritual master. Once you approach a bona fide spiritual master, what must you do? You must inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The main method of advancement in spiritual life is by the process of hearing. The process of hearing. Therefore, it is highly, highly recommended that one attend or listen to Srimad Bhagavatam class or listen from the lips of a pure devotee as much as possible. Because by simply listening to the instructions from the lips of a pure devotee, one's heart is cleansed. And with a cleansed heart, you are able to see yourself as who you really are. So long as you are in illusion of who you are, you will always be cheated. Everybody around you will cheat you. For a long time, I was working in a job, and everybody around me, from my boss to my boss's boss to my colleague, they all been lying to me. They keep telling me that, you are this, you are that, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. They gave me the false information that who I am. These people are not your well-wishers. These materialistic people who are simply want to exploit you, they are not your well-wishers. Your true well-wisher is a bona fide spiritual master who knows the truth. Such a spiritual master can reveal the truth onto you because they have seen the truth. So here it is described that a qualification of a bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusion of the scriptures by deliberation and is able to convince others of this conclusion. He has studied the scriptures, he has read this book, Srimad Bhagavatam, and he has deeply thought about it, and he has shared it with others, and he has faced opposition from others, and he has defeated all of them. Such a person can convince you of the truth. So you must try to find such a bona fide spiritual master. Okay, let's go on. He goes on to explain, accepting the bona fide spiritual master as one's life and soul and worshipable deity, the disciple should learn from him the process of pure devotional service. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, the soul of all soul, is inclined to give himself to his pure devotees. Therefore, the disciple should learn from the spiritual master to serve the Lord without duplicity and in such a faithful and favorable way that the Supreme Lord, being satisfied, will offer himself to the faithful disciple. This is a very, very interesting, oh my God, I read this verse, every time it gives me the chills. Tatra Bhagavatam Dharmam Sikshet Gurum Atma Daivata Amyaya Nur Vartyayais Tusyat Atmano Dohari. So this verse explains that we should accept a spiritual master as one's life and soul, and we should accept a spiritual master as being non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Why? Because just like an ambassador of the United States in Kuala Lumpur is non-different from the president of the United States, Malaysian government treat him as good as they treat the president of the United States. Similarly, a bona fide spiritual master is the qualified representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our only connection with Krishna is the spiritual master. So we should treat the spiritual master as good as we treat Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, the soul of all soul, is inclined to give himself to his pure devotees. This is actually a very, very, among secrets is the secret of the secret. Okay, even in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 2, Krishna describes this Bhakti Yoga as Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam. Raja Vidya means the king of knowledge. Raja Guhyam is the secret of all secret. And what is that secret? Secret is mentioned here. It says here that if you are able to please the devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this pure devotee were to tell Krishna, this disciple of mine is a very, very nice disciple. He's a very good disciple. Please give him liberation. When Krishna hears his pure devotee speak about you in that way, Krishna will say, yes, I will give him liberation. Finish, job done. Even though Krishna knows that you are a rascal number one, because you are a rascal number one, you are not qualified to get liberation, but because you have somehow pleased the pure devotee of Krishna, and that pure devotee from his mouth told Krishna, please give him liberation. He's a very nice devotee. Krishna would say, yes, finish, job done, liberation done. It's the secret of all secrets. So this is the secret of all secrets. And Krishna is very favorable to those who are very faithful to his pure devotees. In fact, Krishna says he's faithfully favorable, and being satisfied, he will offer himself to that faithful disciple. Krishna will become a servant of that disciple, just like how Bali Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, even though he's the king of the demons, but he somehow found a way to please the Supreme Lord. And the way he pleased the Supreme Lord is by actually he pleased the disciples of the Supreme Lord. Okay, Lord Vamanadev, Trivikama. Somehow he found a way to please them. Therefore, the Lord was very, very pleased with him. And the result was what? The Supreme Lord gave himself to Bali Maharaj. Okay, let's move on. A sincere disciple should learn to disassociate the mind from everything material and positively cultivate association with his spiritual master and other saintly devotees. He should be merciful to those in an inferior position to him, cultivate friendship with those on an equal level, and meekly serve those in a higher spiritual position. Thus, he should learn to deal properly with all living beings. This is the description given in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu for the qualification of one who is in Madhyam Adhikari. Madhyam Adhikari, one of the qualification, and also, of course, this is also the qualification of one who is a pure devotee. But to distinct, the main distinction between a Madhyam Adhikari and a Kanishta Adhikari is a Kanishta Adhikari doesn't know how to treat people properly. He's too immature that he criticizes too much. Whereas a Madhyam Adhikari, he does not indulge in any criticism whatsoever. He knows how to deal with people properly, and it is given an indication here. He first of all, he disassociates his mind from anything material and positively cultivates association with his spiritual master. He positively cultivates his relationship with the spiritual master, means that he has kept the lotus feet of his spiritual master in his heart, meaning that he knows the heart of his spiritual master better than he knows about himself. That's what it means. Before the spiritual master can give instruction, he already knows. Oh, my spiritual master wants this, I'll go and do it. This is how intimate and how close you must be with your spiritual master. Okay? And for those who are not in the category of pure devotees, how does he behave? So is indicated here. For those in an inferior position to him, he cultivates friendship with those on an equal level and meekly serves those in a higher spiritual position. So here it is indicated that those who are equal to him, he'll make friendship. Those who are his god brothers, those who are other Vaishnavas from his own guru and other gurus, other Vaishnavas from other sampradayas also, he'll make friends with them. He's very humble, very meek with them. His attitude is, I want to serve you. Please tell me, how can I serve you, sir? Please. His attitude is like that. Then for those who are non-devotees, those who are like juniors, those who are kanistas, let's say, he will show mercy upon them. He will see, these people will make mistakes. They will be very stubborn. They will be this, they will be that, all very irritating. But he will not lose his temper. What he will do is, he will show compassion upon them. He will talk very nicely to them. He said, hey, Ayya, please don't be angry with me. Please listen to me. This one, please don't do like this. He will talk like that. Even though these people will insult him, but he will remain calm. He will show his compassion. This is how all devotees should behave. This is what we should aspire for, actually. So let's continue. To serve the spiritual master, the disciple should learn cleanliness, austerity, tolerance, silence, study of Vedic knowledge, simplicity, celibacy, non-violence, and equanimity in the face of material dualities such as heat and cold, happiness and distress. All of these qualities come when one surrenders at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. I can go deep into it, but I think it's best that we do our own homework. If you're sincere, you'll do your own homework. All of these qualities are spoken of by Krishna in chapter 18 in Bhagavad Gita. One should practice meditation by constantly seeing oneself to be an external cognizant spirit soul and seeing the Lord to be the absolute controller of everything. To increase one's meditation, one should live in a secluded place and give up false attachment to one's home and household paraphernalia. Giving up the decorations of the temporary material body, one should dress himself with a scrap of cloth found in a rejected place and with the barks of trees. In this way, one should learn to be satisfied in any material situation. This is a description of somebody who is a vanaprastha. Vanaprastha. Vana means forest. Prastha means the one who has gone to that forest. Okay, this means somebody who has retired from family life. Family life is the total opposite of this. Family life is comfort. Wherever there's women are very interested in giving pleasure by creating a comfortable living situation. So those who are actually interested or serious about spiritual life, they should always remain in a very simple way. They should live in a simple way of life. I have met many people in my time who unnecessarily has lived their life in such a irresponsible way. They have developed attachment for some luxury. I give you a good example. I met someone once. He wanted to visit India, visit the holy land of Vrindavan, Mayapur, Rameshwaram, Tirupati, and all these places. But this person was wanting to go to all this holy land, and he was in putting condition. He said, I will only go if I can get a room with aircon. And I looked at him and I thought, why are you talking like this? These places are places of pilgrimage. These places are meant for people to go to perform austerity. The Supreme Lord is pleased with those who come with this mentality of performing austerity. Not, demanding that, I must get an aircon room, my room must be very luxurious, my room this, my room. And I told him, he says, you should live your life in such a way that you are able to sleep, you are able to live in the minimal, most possible way. Anywhere you go in the world, if you rent a room, the minimum they'll give you is a fan. So you should train yourself to live in such a way that you can survive with just a fan. No matter if it's summertime or winter time or whatever time, you are able to sleep, no problem. I am able to sleep on the floor, hard floor. You should live like that. Not live in a way, keep getting attachment after unnecessary things. That is not the way. That is not the way to advance in spiritual life. Let's move on. One should have firm faith that he will achieve all success in life by following those scriptures that describe the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. At the same time, one should avoid blaspheming other scriptures. One should rigidly control his mind, speech, and bodily activities. Always speak the truth and bring the mind and senses under full control. You must have the faith, shraddha, confidence that simply by following in the footsteps of those who are more advanced in spiritual life than yourself, you will achieve complete success. Krishna is within your heart as Paramatma and he will guide you. Simply by sincerity, he will guide you. Let's move on. One should hear, glorify, and meditate upon the wonderful transcendental activities of the Lord. One should specifically become absorbed in the appearance, activities, qualities, and holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus inspired, one should perform all of one's daily activities as an offering to the Lord. One should perform sacrifice, charity, and penance exclusively for the Lord's satisfaction. Similarly, one should chant only those mantras which glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all one's religious activities should be performed as an offering to the Lord. Whatever one finds pleasing or enjoyable, he should immediately offer to the Supreme Lord. Even his wife, children, home, and very life air should be offered to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is how a pure devotee should behave. He should offer everything to the Supreme Lord, especially those things that he thinks that is very pleasing to him. that is giving pleasure to him. Before you want to consume a food that you think, oh, this one very nice. I've been waiting to eat this food for so long. But before I eat, let me offer this to Krishna first. Let Krishna enjoy first. Let Krishna enjoy first, and at the end, this prasad, which is actually karma, which is full of karma, simply by offering to Krishna, it becomes prasad. Prasad means mercy. Simply by consuming this mercy, I get released from all kinds of karmic reaction. In fact, simply by eating prasadam only, you become free from repeated birth and death. One who desires his ultimate self-interest should cultivate friendship with those persons who have accepted Krishna as the Lord of their life. One should further develop an attitude of service toward all living beings. One should especially try to help those in the human form of life, and among them, especially those who accept the principle of religious behavior. Among religious persons, one should especially render service to the pure devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That should be the motto of one who is a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is one who has surrendered his life and soul to simply carry out the instruction of his Guru or instruction of a pure devotee. Simply by doing that, automatically every other living entity in this material world, including the Devas, they become very pleased with you. Just like how if you water the root of a tree, everything from the leaf to the twigs to the branch to the bark to the fruit all becomes satisfied. One should learn how to associate with the devotees of the Lord by gathering with them to chant the glories of the Lord. This process is most purifying. As devotees thus develop their loving friendship, they feel mutual happiness and satisfaction, and by thus encouraging one another, they are able to give up material sense gratification, which is the cause of all suffering. This is mat chitta mat kata prana bodhayantas parasparam katayantas mam nitya tusyanticha ramanticha. This is a very, very important verse, and one of the most important verses in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 9. Is it 9? Yes, correct. Chapter 10, text 9. So this verse right now is a bit difficult because of this pandemic, but by listening to this class, let's say you are listening to this class, please accept what you hear in this class, meditate upon it. How do you get association? You meditate upon it. One thing you can do is you can give thanks. Thank you, Prabhu, very nice class, this, that, everything. Number two, you should ask questions. Prabhu, you spoke about this. Can you explain a little bit more? And the way you can do that is, because this is on YouTube, please write your questions in the comments. Why? Because sometimes you might ask a question that somebody else never thought of. And me being the speaker, I will answer your questions from your comments. And your questions and the answer will be there forever and ever. Anybody, anytime, anywhere they see this video, they will read the comments, they will read the question, they will read the answer. Not only you benefit, not only I benefit, everybody can benefit. This is called Sangha, this is called association. This is how you do it. Let's move on. The devotees of the Lord constantly discuss the glories of the personality of Godhead among themselves. Tusyanticha ramanticha. Thus, they constantly remember the Lord and remind one another of His qualities and pastimes. In this way, by their devotion to the principle of Bhakti Yoga, the devotees please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who takes away from them everything inauspicious. Being purified of all impediments, the devotee awaken to pure love of Godhead, and thus, even within this world, their spiritualized body exhibit the symptom of transcendental ecstasy, such as standing of the bodily hairs on end. So now, this is the description of one who has advanced in spiritual life. Advancement here meaning that you have been blessed to advance in spiritual life. Advancement in spiritual life happen only by blessing. Please remember this. So we are constantly being bombarded left, right, and center in this material world with ideas that fill our head with the idea that I can do everything. It is me. It is in my hand. No, it is not in your hand. Even material things also that you achieve in your life, it's not in your hand. Sarva Karana Karanam. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Krishna is the cause of all causes. You have what you have today is because by the mercy of Krishna. Similarly, if you want to get out of this place of repeated birth and death, a place of misery, the only way you can get is by Krishna's blessings. And Krishna's blessing is very easily available from the lotus feet of his pure devotees. So please remember this. We advance in spiritual life by blessings only, by mercy. Just like by the mercy of the father and mother, the children grow up very nicely, become very educated, become rich men, become famous woman, become this, become that. Why? Because of mercy of the sacrifice of the parents. Similarly, Krishna is declared Aham Bija Pradapita. I am the seed-giving father of all living entities. So Krishna being the supreme father, which father does not want to see the children prosper, become happy and become nice? Krishna wants the best for us. So please remember this. Only is by mercy of our superiors that we can advance. So this advancement is displayed in the symptoms, the ecstatic symptoms. So a little bit more of description here. Having achieved love of Godhead, the devotees sometimes cry out loud, absorbed in thoughts of the infallible Lord. Sometimes they laugh, feel great pleasure, speak out loudly to the Lord, dance and sing. Such devotees having transcended material condition life, sometimes imitates the unborn supreme by acting out his pastimes, and sometimes achieving his personal audience, they remain peaceful and silent. So this is the description of some of the ecstatic symptoms of the gopis. When the gopis were in separation of Krishna, their thoughts became so absorbed in Krishna's beauty, in Krishna's pastimes, that spontaneously they just started, performing Krishna Leela, Krishna's pastimes. Thus, learning the science of devotional service and practically engaging in devotional service of the Lord, the devotees come to the stage of love of Godhead. And by complete devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, the devotees easily cross over the illusory energy Maya, which is extremely difficult to cross. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 14, Daivi isa gunamai, mama maya durataya, mami eva prapachante, mayam etam tarantite. This divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature is very difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So this is what Krishna is saying here. Simply by being engaged in devotional service, the devotees come to the stage of love of Godhead. By complete devotion to Lord Narayana, the devotees easily cross over the illusory energy Maya, which is extremely difficult to cross. So this is the answer to the question of how one can overcome the illusory energy of Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.